Hey guys, this video we're going to take a look at what has to be the most impressive portable power supply that I've gotten a chance to play around with. This is the AFERY P210, and they were nice enough to give me this for free so I can make a video showing it to you. I want to go through some of the specs and the features, do a little test on this guy. So look, I'm going to show you something. It's going to knock your socks off and blow your hair back all at the same time. You're going to really like this thing. It's pretty amazing. So this is rated at 2400 watts, but that's 2400 running watts. It's 4800 when we talk about peak watts. So this will be able to power just about anything that you throw at it. Also, the battery inside there is 2048 watt hours, so it's going to be long lasting. It has a bunch of cool functions as far as like UPS, and it has some really good fast charging options. If I turn this guy over this way, you can see this little door right here. We flip it up. Oh, you can't see from there. Right down there. So on the left, we have our AC input for charging on an outlet. It does come with the cord right there. Now that's going to charge, look at this, 1100 watts max. So it's less than 2 hours to get a full charge on this thing when plugging it into a wall. If you don't want it to charge that fast, if you don't want it to be pulling 1100 watts, there are settings that are described in the owner's manual, so you can slow that down if you wanted to. Now also, we have a 500 watt max on our solar panel input, and for the solar panel it uses this cord right here. That's plugging into the machine. Here are your ends for your solar panel, but up to 500 watts solar. So that's really amazing too. That's really high limits on both of those, but being such a big battery, you definitely want that. And while we're here, you have carrying handles on either side, which is good because this is almost 50 pounds. Power station all hooked up to our solar panel here. See, using the solar panel connection that we looked at, plugged in right there to those little guys right under there. And if we look at the screen, we will be able to see their input is fluctuating, but we got up to 50 watts at one point. Shows how long it'll take to get a full charge on this. Remember, it can hold up to a 500 watt input, so we're only at 10% of its capacity as far as what it could accept as an input for your solar power. And it goes down as we hit a cloud. And it also gives us our output remaining, but we don't have anything plugged in, so we're not drawing anything off. But you absolutely can be charging, whether it's solar or AC, while using your USBs, your 12 volt, your AC outlets, whatever you're doing. So we're just going to give this time to sit, and once we get more of a charge, we can play around some more. A little bright, so you might not be able to see it. Getting a little sun today. We're up to 33%. It's only charging about 30 to 50. It's been bouncing, depending on how much sun we're getting. And then it tells us it'll be 36 hours at this rate, and we'll have a full charge on this guy. Cloudy day out today, not great for trying to use a solar charger, so it's a perfect excuse to bring the box inside and show you what it looks like plugging it into a wall outlet. Now, the good thing about wall charging it is how fast it's going to charge. So we'll see it as it kicks in here. And we can watch that input shooting up. Now the instructions also do show you how you can change the setting so the input won't be so high if you want to reduce it for some reason. Because that is pulling a lot of power there. You can see we're at 1000 watts input, which is more than twice what you can potentially do through solar. So if you need a quick charge on it, plugging it into a wall outlet is your best option. So at this point, at a 42% charge, doing about 1100 watts, it'll take 85 minutes, a little over an hour, to go from 42% all the way up to 100. Once we get there, we'll do some further playing around. Now, since we're moving it around, let's go to the other side. You got the AC button to turn on your AC outlets on and off. It is pure sine wave, and look at that. We have 6 total outlets. Not only can we run big stuff, but we can run a lot of things with this guy. Got your power button up here in the corner. Got an LED light with different modes on that. Do your SOS emergency type stuff. Got a slew of USB ports with your button to turn that on and off. We have a couple of DC options here. running our DC devices, and then our screen gives us some pretty good information. We can see the state of charge of the battery. If we have an output, it'll have the watts there. If we have an input, it'll tell us how many watts are being input, and then also how many hours we can run at whatever output we currently are. So you can kind of game plan how long it's going to last. But think, if you have a 500 watt solar panel going into this thing, you can pretty continuously run a ton of different stuff. What I really want to show you is this thing has UPS function, uninterrupted power supply. So what you do is plug one end into the wall, plug in whatever device you want to run, and then if your power goes out for any reason, this box automatically picks up so that the device you have plugged in doesn't actually turn off. Really good for essential items, maybe some type of medical item that has to stay on, or even just a computer or something where it would be annoying or a hassle if it turned off. So let me show you an example of that. To demonstrate the uninterrupted power supply UPS, I have the box plugged into this power strip, and I have this lamp, which you can see is on right here. I'm going to flip the switch on the power strip, which will cut the supply to the power supply, and then that light's going to stay on. And you can see instantly stayed on, no flickering, no nothing. We are now totally just running off the power supply, and you can see how many hours it can run that lamp. It says 65 hours it'll be able to run the lamp, and it doesn't show any output because I think that's just like a 1 watt bulb. It's super dim. But the point is, oh, there we go, up to 4 watts now. But the point being, this will keep any item plugged into the AC port still running for you. The most difficult task for any of these portable power stations is anything that creates heat. Like this is a little heat gun, but a space heater, hair dryer, anything like that is very difficult for these types of boxes. So I have this smaller box up here. I want to show you how it handles. You can also see how much better the screen is down here compared to that one. How it handles the heat gun. You see we're at 296 watts out. And it'll be able to run this for just under an hour. It says 0.9, fluctuating between 0.8, 0.9 hours. It's at 88%, so let's say if it was fully charged, it could go 1 hour and 297 watts. Now I'm going to run the same heat gun off of the AFERY. See, we have a higher output to start with. It's over 300 instead of 297. And right now we'll be able to run it for 5 hours as opposed to just 1 hour. Whoops, was I blocking that? We can run it for 5 hours instead of just 1 hour from this box up here. Now I just want to drive this point home a little bit further with an actual space heater. Got it plugged into the smaller box up here. And we're going to go ahead and turn this guy on. You'll see it jump up. We're up to 350, 370, 400, 430, 470, 512, and it shuts down. This maxes out before it could ever run a space heater. And now it's squawking at us because it really didn't like that. So little boxes like this, space heater won't run it at all. Not a minute, not a second. It just shuts right down before it ever got to operating temperature. Which is a big deal. If you live in a northern climate, middle of winter, power goes out. Even a little space heater like this is a huge difference over nothing at all. Fun fact, that happened to me one time. I had to run a generator outside. What did I use my generator to run? The TV and cable box so I could watch the Blackhawks game, sitting there in a chair with 2 jackets on, shivering, freezing, but I got to watch my game. All right, now let's plug this into the bigger box, the AFERY. And here we go. We can watch our output going up as this guy's going. We're up to 600, 700, 800, and you can see we can run that for 2 hours. So without any input from obviously the wall or even a solar panel, we're going to get at least 2 hours of runtime. We're up to almost 850 watts out. and the smaller box couldn't do it at all. Huge difference. If you walk around your house, look at the labels of anything that plugs into a wall, this will be able to power probably anything you find. You may get lucky and find one thing that this can't run, but standing here, I can't think of what it'd be. So this space heater is topping out at 830 some odd watts out, and we're going to get over 2 hours of runtime on that. Anyone who's familiar with these types of boxes, this thing is super impressive. If you're doing any kind of camping, tailgating, fishing, maybe you got like a little hunting shack. Like if you had a hunting shack and like a wood stove or fireplace of some type, so you're not strictly relying on this to heat the entire place, this box and a solar panel would be all you need for power. It would run everything else you need. You'd be totally off the grid with just a little wood burner and this guy with a solar panel. It is really a cool option for a lot of people. Even if you were just having to use power tools on the go, if you were not near something, you don't actually have to have a generator. This thing will run all sorts of saws and everything for a very long time. So there it is, guys, your AFERY P210. Thanks for watching.